I have now been investing with Trading 212 for 1 complete year. I've went from someone who never invested a single penny to someone who invests all the pennies they can, within reason of course. Now, investing my money was always something I knew I should be doing, but it was simply too easy for me to keep putting it off. I guess I was procrastinating on my finances in a weird sort of way. Then of course there was the thought that investing was simply too complicated, too confusing, it just wasn't the sort of world I wanted to get involved with. So why bother even trying? I'll just keep saving what I can every month in my bank account, and that's more than good enough for the future me and future of my family, right? Fast forward 1 year and I've now invested over £17,000 of my own savings, I've received nearly £200 in dividends, and I've came close to maxing out my stocks and shares ISA for this current tax year. Now, I'm not going to lie, I didn't even know what stocks and shares ISA was over a year and a little bit ago, so I feel like I've made a lot of progress in this time. I'm proud of myself and I'm glad I started this investment journey, my investment journey, and I just feel it's better late than never, as they say. So in this video, I just want to cover how my first year of investing has been. I'll also share my overall thoughts on using Trading 212 as my platform for my first year, so stick around for that if you're interested. Hopefully this video will help you or someone in a similar position. Maybe you want to start investing, but at the same time you don't want to start investing, if you get what I mean. Let me know your thoughts and feel free to subscribe to my journey. After all, I personally feel I'm just getting started. But 365 days of investing might sound painful, but to be honest, it's not. To me, it doesn't feel any different to saving my money in a bank account. I don't touch my savings unless I have a really good reason to do so, and I share this sort of view with my investments, except I just really don't touch them. I'm very good at not buying things unless I absolutely need them, and this habit has definitely came in handy over the last few years. It's helped me save more money, which I have now been putting into my investing. The aim is to now let compound interest and time do its thing. When it comes to investing, I've learned that being patient and playing the long game is absolute key. Thankfully, I think of myself as a very patient person, and something that I usually tell others, and something I'm always reminding myself of, is anything worthwhile takes time. With investing, this couldn't be more true. There's definitely a reason the quote, "time in the market over timing the market" is so often repeated. Keep your money invested for as long as you can, ride out all the potential bumps and dips along the way, and chances are you will come out in a much stronger position. So I started investing at the craziest possible time, at least for my generation anyway. But in a weird way, I'm actually grateful for this. The way I view it, it's only going to give me more experience for when things go bad again in the future, if they go bad, which I'm sure they will. So the pandemic hit, the stock market crashed, and I decided it would be a brilliant idea to chuck my savings into a stocks and shares ISA with Trading 212. Now, just as a disclaimer, I did do 2 weeks, near enough 2.5 weeks I think, of full research before I decided to go with Trading 212, and ultimately they were the best fit for me, and that is why I chose them as my broker. So there was a great Warren Buffett quote that I read when I first started investing, and it's definitely stuck with me since, and that is, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful." And without really thinking about it, this is exactly what I actually did. In my head, I was just thinking of the classic buy low and then sell high in the future. So back in April 2020, when the lockdown first happened here in the UK, and lockdowns were happening all across the world, restrictions coming into place, etc., people were panicking. People who were investing and had been investing for a long time started selling out of their investments, and I effectively started buying in at this low point in the stock market, thinking things can only get better in the future. So to give you an example, my first investment was actually in the iShares Core FTSE 100 ETF. Now, I did a lot of research, big thank you to YouTube. I really like the sound of investing into ETFs. ETFs still make up the bulk of my portfolio today, and there's a very good reason for that. You get lots of exposure, and it's not as risky as investing into one specific stock. So the iShares Core FTSE 100 ETF, when I bought into it, was £5.39 per share. Now, 1 year later, it is now £6.63 per share. The same thing can be said for many of the other investments I made. The S&P 500 ETF, once again with iShares, that cost me £22.16 for one share back in April 2020. Today, one share will cost you £28.84. The Vanguard FTSE Emerging Markets ETF, one share in 2020 was £39.60, and today it is now £51.70. So I really wish I bought more shares at the beginning of my investment journey when things were so cheap. We've got to remember that this world was all still new to me. I just wasn't confident with putting too much of my savings in the stock market at once when I didn't know enough about it, so instead I cost averaged my way in. We'd deposit a set amount each month and then I would put that into my investments. So there's still a lot of things I need to learn, and by no means am I an expert. I've only been doing this for a year, and that is the reason why I don't give advice to anybody. I'm just not in a position to do so. I'm simply sharing my journey here on YouTube to keep myself accountable. Hopefully this sort of stuff has been helping others who are interested, but please don't copy what I'm doing. Especially don't do it unless you've done your research first, because that would be extremely stupid. So 1 year on of investing, and what are my thoughts now? Well, first of all, I do wish I started investing when I was younger. You can't save your way to riches, and saving your money in a bank account with bad levels of interest is not the answer. This is even more true when you factor in inflation rates, and it actually works out that your money that you're saving in your bank account is losing value over time. So you need to invest, you need to let your money work for you, and you need to reinvest any dividends that you receive along the way. I am extremely glad that I started investing when I did. Currently sitting on a return of 14.5%, which is £2,430 in the green. Technically, I could sell all of my investments right now if I wanted to and take that profit, but I'm not doing that. I'm leaving it to grow, I'm adding to it monthly, and of course I'm reinvesting every single dividend I receive. Like I said earlier, long-term investing is the key here. In contrast, if I'd left all my money in my bank's savings account, I would have earned roughly £30-ish in interest. In fact, I don't even think it would be as much as that. As for Trading 212, I personally think they've been brilliant. Investing is so accessible these days, and of course, I could have gone with somebody else like Freetrade, but I really did like the Trading 212 app. So I initially got started on the practice mode within Trading 212, and I got a real good feel for the app, how things worked, etc. And then I decided to open a real account with them. I've not looked back since, well, until this video of course, which is all about me looking back over the previous year. Yeah, you get the idea. I really think it just comes down to personal preference. Some people might like to have an account with the likes of Vanguard and set everything up automatically, so your investments just happen, your money is just put back into what you're investing into, and that's it. But for me, I like having an app available on my phone, and I can open it up, I can see how things are, and I can track, buy, sell, right there and then if I want to. Of course, I'm not selling much because, as I said, I'm a long-term investor. I do think having the Trading 212 app on my iPhone has definitely helped me learn things quicker. I can just, like I say, open it, I can see how things are looking, and that alone is enough. I can pick up information, kind of go with it, go and research a few things, and of course there's also a lot of information in the Trading 212 app, which is extremely useful when you're first starting out. So there have been a few problems with Trading 212 at times. It's not all been plain sailing. There's been issues with buying and selling stocks at certain times. There's been issues with getting logged in when their servers are under a lot of demand. But none of this has actually mattered for me because I'm sticking to this long-term investing plan, and daily or weekly fluctuations in the stock market, stock prices, if I can't get in at a certain time to buy a stock or to sell a stock, it's really probably not going to make that much of a difference 15, 20, 25 years down the line. Of course, don't quote me on that, or actually you can if you're still here in 15 years time and I was totally wrong about what I just said. Let's just see how that plays out. Also, it's worth noting that Trading 212 are currently still making a load of improvements to their service, and that is why new account registrations are still closed for the time being. Fingers crossed this won't be the case for much longer. If you're interested, you can sign up to be on the waiting list for when they're taking account registrations again, and there's a link in the description of this video and in the top comment, which I'll pin. It's my referral link to Trading 212, full honesty. If you click that and create an account when they are taking accounts again, opening accounts, you will receive a free share in Trading 212, and so will I. Again, just remember that I'm still completely new to this. 1 year of investing is not a long time. I do know one thing for certain, and that is the future version of me will be extremely grateful that I got started investing when I did. Less, of course, if I panic sell all my investments at a loss and things go bad, but I don't plan on that happening by any means. So there we have it, 1 year later, 1 year of investing with Trading 212. I am glad I started investing. I do wish I started earlier, but as my mum used to always say to me, there's no use crying over spilt milk. What's done is done. Make the most of now, figure out what is best for your situation, your circumstances, and of course, do your research. And also, please stop comparing yourself to others. If you take anything from this video, please let it be this. Everyone is in a different situation. If you only manage to save or invest a few £100, then so be it. That's still better than a high percentage of the population, I can guarantee you that. Feel free to check out my investment journey playlist here on my YouTube channel. It's basically me posting weekly portfolio updates from when I started investing this time last year up to now. You'll get to see the investments I made, what I sold, dividends that I received, and of course the mistakes that I made along the way. The good news is I've learnt from those mistakes, or at least I have tried my best to do so. It might prove to be an eye-opener for some of you, and again, hopefully it helps. So if you've watched this far into the video, I applaud you. You may as well like and subscribe to this now. If you do, thank you. If not, it's all good. You can always come back at a future date and change your mind then. So thank you very much for watching. I look forward to chatting with you in the comments, and I hope to see you back soon for my next video.